Welcome everyone to another wonderful episode here at Doctors of Podiatry. The patient is getting himself comfortable.
Trying to.
There you go. Let's bring it over here just like you had it before. Super. We have a diabetic patient who presents to our office today with a very large callus / corn on the bottom of the right foot. When we look at the lower extremities of diabetic patients, we look at their structure, right? We have 3 foot types: the pes planus, the flat foot; the pes cavus, the high arched foot; and then the neutral type foot. In this particular case, the patient has a cavus type foot where you put all the pressure on the heel and the forefoot. Kind of interesting. Patient has only 4 toes, and this is kind of interesting. We've seen in the past there are some, there are some congenital deformities where patients are just born without a toe, so they only have 4 toes. How old are you now?
I'm 67.
67. So, when he was born, apparently they told him that he was actually born with 5 toes, but they amputated the 2nd toe. He doesn't know why.
Well, he told me there was
that
no
there was
bone.
bone.
There was no bone in there.
Right.
So I guess it just hung there. I don't know.
That's the reason they gave him, because I guess the probably the metatarsal, we can obviously get some X-rays, but maybe the metatarsal was not there, or it was just
That's what they did in the 50s.
Oh.
It was back then.
I wouldn't know.
Way back in primitive days.
In the primitive archaic days, right?
Right, you got it.
Anyways, so let's take a look. Okay, so as everyone can see, just relax here. There we go. So the patient has a cavus type foot, again, structurally and biomechanically speaking. Of course, we know the saying, the callus never lies. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one, that's the one that they amputated. But again, patient has not only callus corn, but we also already see what we call subdermal hemorrhagic changes. When we see that a little bit of blood, that means that the skin underneath has actually broken down. And we were just talking about his diabetic shoes. He needs to obviously go back and get a new pair, not only the shoes, but obviously the insoles for accommodation. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, trim and debride this callus and see if there's an underlying ulceration. A lot of these patients, as we all know, one of the side effects from diabetes, neuropathy, and the patient is nodding his head up and down. I've seen these. This is what we call a first metatarsal head callus, which can easily turn into an ulcer. Sub means underneath, right? So let's continue to dig further. And we already applied a little bit of the soft. Let's continue to move. What's incredible is the amount of callus that can build up in in such a quick amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like months. It's not.
No, it's not.
You know, God has a way. You know, some of these patients just come in at the perfect moment time. It's like, you know, if the patient, if you would have waited maybe another week, you know, this could have been catastrophic.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
No kidding.
I kid you not. You know, how do I know? Because when you get to this level, when you look at it, you know, when we think about the anatomy, it's, you know, right there, just about to break down. Have you ever had in the past, obviously we've, you know, this is the first time we meet, but have you ever had an ulcer here? Has it ever broken down where you have an open sore?
I think, yeah. That's what they were calling it when it was before.
An ulcer.
Yeah, it was like dead in the dead center of that thing.
Yep.
And it took me weeks. I mean, I was on a wheel, crutches and stuff like that.
That's
for a
right.
couple
Yep.
weeks
Yep.
to
So,
get it to mend. And it did finally.
so this is, you know, we're down to the level where we want to be. If there was an ulcer, it would be in this particular location. Okay. And I always like to leave a little rim here just because this will protect this since it's so fragile. Now, let's go to the Whitey board for a second. Right here, okay? There are two bones underneath the metatarsal head, the first metatarsal head. And these bones are called the sesamoids, okay? Okay, so what we're looking at here is a side view. We have the first metatarsal, we have the proximal phalanx, we have the distal phalanx. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is basically, you know, draw, this is, we'll just say that's kind of like the plantar aspect of the skin. This is our callus. And right in between here, okay, right underneath, you know, we have, and this is not to scale, but we have a little bone here, right? If we look at it from the top, right, this is the top view, and again, the toe is over here, right? Okay, 1 and 2. These sesamoids, we'll make believe number 1 here is this one on the side. So he has very, because of the structure of the foot, okay, he's putting a lot of pressure here. And because of this is developing, right? So my recommendations, and this is something to consider in the near future, the one that he has a problem with is called the tibial. You have the tibial and the fibular. So what I would, you know, recommend is, again, let's just make believe this is kind of like this. We make a little incision here. Using our minimally invasive techniques, we go in here, we identify number 1, which is the tibial. Let's go back here, and basically we shave this down, okay? This is the bone. We sussurize the bone. We give it a haircut. And that will take a lot of that pressure off.
Okay.
You know, that's one alternative. The second is to pump fat, your fat, into that area to replenish that fat that has been lost here. You know, when we talk about the most important thing about about diabetics, right, is amputation prevention. Why wait until there's a problem when we can actually prevent it? And that mindset, that thought process is what we need to really ingrain, not only in our fellow colleagues out here, physicians, but also in the minds of patients. It's all about education. And that's, you know, at the core, as everyone knows, that's what we do. Educate.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll make further recommendations. I think that, you know, long term,
Okay.
you're very young, long term, this is the way to go.
Okay.
Because it's just a, you know, it's just a matter of when. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. What's going to happen? That the skin's going to break down, the ulcer's going to be there, it may go down to the bone, then we have bone infection, and then we have a big problem. We're up the creek without a paddle.
Boy.
Part of my French.
Yep. Okay.
As always, please, guys, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with all your friends, family, co-workers, workers. You know, we're here to educate. Make sure that your notifications are
done, right?
You're golden.
Okay.
Make sure that your notification on YouTube is on. Very important. We are uploading every single day videos. But make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel. It's the only way that you guys are going to be able to know when we upload these educational videos. As always, www.jawspodiatry.com, Instagram, Dr. Tojam, Jaws Podiatry, Facebook, and last but not least, our YouTube channel, Jaws Healthcare. Guys, we are rolling out something big. Get ready. In respect to the nippers, again, the nippers, the double action nippers, the smaller nail nippers.
Excuse me.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Caesar is the same way. Number 3, the curettes. We're gonna have and last but not least, we're gonna have a callus shaver slash, you know, something to really buff these calluses out. They're on back order. They're coming, but just try to be. I just wish the world would just be a little bit patient. It's gonna be fantastic. It's worth the wait. I promise. Have a wonderful day.